Hello, everybody, and greetings from the remnants of what used to be my bedroom in my mother's house in Indiana. Um, Clearly, none of my stuff is here anymore. It all moved out years ago, so this is a storage room now, primarily for baby related accoutrement. But I'm up here today because it's quiet up here, so I was here for my therapy session so that I could conduct it in relative safety and quiet and calm away from the rest of the house. And this is also where my cats are staying for their holiday break. So yeah, I'm up here chilling out with my cats and uh, doing some aftercare after a particularly not fun therapy session. Um, so on Sunday, I had a dissociation episode, which is great. My favorite thing in the world. Um, because this is a public blog and a public YouTube video, I'm not going to get too much into what happened because, protect the anonymity of people who are not me. Suffice to say, um, one of my particularly sensitive soul bruises got pressed on really hard. And I reacted by completely shutting down. Um, I snap dissociated so hard I was essentially nonverbal. Um, I couldn't respond to the triggering incident. I couldn't defend myself in the moment. For those of you who've had dissociation episodes, you know that weird sensation when you hear your hearing start to tunnel and words turn into the womp 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 from the Peanuts parents, and your vision kind of grayscales, and nothing, no external stimuli is really getting through to you. That was me for a good portion of Sunday evening. Good times all around. So yeah, in therapy today, we were talking about the particular sensitive spot that got stomped on. And we were talking about the advice I had gotten from my support system regarding said incident and the process of setting up those healthy boundaries around my sensitive issues. I needed a lot of validation from my support system over the past few days to remind me that my feelings are valid and I don't have to defend my feelings to anybody, that I am allowed to feel the way that I feel, and I should never deny what I'm feeling. That has been a huge problem for me historically, denying my right to feel the things that I'm feeling because I consider them to be, air quotes, wrong. So working this week to honor the feelings that I'm feeling, accept the fact that these feelings are not pleasant ones to be feeling, and how to move forward. What with the bruise being pushed and the boundaries being ignored, and kind of sitting in a really messy situation right now. Without getting too much into it, protect the anonymity of the other parties involved. A moment of thoughtlessness stamped on my emotional issues, which then triggered inside me just a chain reaction of emotional landmines until once again I was dissociated so hard that I couldn't speak. And the other parties did not react to that especially well, and everybody left in a huff, and it was not a good night. I've been feeling a lot of really icky feelings since Sunday night. A lot of feelings that I normally don't allow myself to name. So because I have done many pages of journaling about this incident, I'm going to share some of my insights with you. I bet you're wishing for that lighthearted show and tell video right about now, aren't you? Okay, so feelings I am feeling. Shame. Shame that I did not handle the situation well at all. Um, I was unable to make use of any of the tools that I've developed in therapy to more gracefully handle the situation. Um, Instead, I was just shut down, and it took over a day for me to recover and to start feeling better. So that's not cool. Um, a lot of frustration. A lot of frustration with myself, with the other parties involved, with the situation in general. The fact that these behavioral patterns have not changed, and that I feel like I am constantly the one having to bend and to be understanding and to accommodate the other people's worldviews. And I feel like my perspective is constantly dismissed and belittled and disrespected. And I'm sick of giving at the moment. I'm really sick of bending. I don't like it, and it's not fair, and I kind of want to throw a bit of a temper tantrum about it, which is not helpful behavior, but I like the mental fantasy of it. Um, there's also there's a fair amount of embarrassment at how quickly everything exploded. Um, it's been a while since I dissociated, and normally my dissociation stems from depression. It doesn't normally stem from one of my soul bruises getting pressed. So I was taken aback by how violent, well, not violently, but how incredibly quickly I shut down. That does not feel good at all. Um, Obviously, there's a bunch of hurt. My feelings were really hurt by the whole incident, and that hurt has not been acknowledged by the other parties. Um, I apologized to the other parties for not handling the situation well. I received no apologies in return for my hurt feelings, which does not feel good, honestly. Um, yeah. I also, I was feeling, especially Sunday night, I was feeling a lot of doubt about, how valid are my own perceptions of what's going on? Do I have the right to feel this way? Am I seeing anything clearly, or am I just spiraling in my emotions? That I've resolved. I've resolved a lot of that doubt. No, I was not spiraling. I have every right to feel hurt and dismissed and angry. And yeah, yeah, my perception, pretty accurate. So, yeah. Um, I think one of the hardest things for me was that I lost hold of my words so quickly. Verbal communication has never really been my strong suit. I'm a much stronger writer than I am speaker, but to be left in a state where I could barely communicate was not a fun sensation. Um, Granted, I was so strongly dissociated that the outside world barely existed, so there is that. But the fact that in the moment I was being urged to use my words to explain why my feelings were hurt, to talk about what was going on inside my head, and I couldn't. I could not break through the dissociative fog, which is always just the most fun sensation, to have that part of me in the back of my head that is aware of what's going on, but unable to break through the dissociative fog to reconnect with the outer world. Good times. Good times all around. I am proud of myself though, because I did almost immediately start reaching out to my support system. I reached out to the friends that I trust when I'm having these mental illness situations. And from them, I got the validation that I didn't even realize I needed. I got the validation that my feelings are valid and that I'm allowed to feel them. And I got validation that this was not all my fault and that I did not have to do all of the bending, nor should I. I should not bow and scrape and take all of the blame for what was a really messy situation. And that it's okay to want an apology and it's okay to want acknowledgement and an apology and an apology and an apology. Their understanding and their third party relative objectiveness was really helpful. It was really helpful to have someone who had no stakes in the fight and could just provide here are the lessons that I've learned from my therapy sessions that apply to this situation. Use them how you will. And, to get stories of, oh yeah, I've been in a similar situation. It sucks. Having that level of understanding and support and love and care was really helpful, especially on Monday when I was in severe aftercare mode. I was groggy and wrung out and a bit strung out, and I was doing my best to take care of myself, but emotional hangovers are kind of the worst thing ever, and I'm still not good at dealing with that sort of hangover. So having my friends to lean on was huge and really important, and I'm so grateful to them for following through and actually being there for me when they said they would be. That's a huge thing for me. So thanks for that. Thanks, ma'am. What else did I journal about all of this? Oh yeah, the fact that the catalyst action felt purposefully exclusionary and isolating. And I have I have a long history of being bullied and feeling abandoned. So that hit particularly hard. Yay. And so, of course, my brain reacted protectively. That is what trauma response means. Oh, poor traumatized brain. Why are we like this? And of course, the reason that we're like this is because of the trauma in the first place. Circular questions are fun. It felt good to have people be angry for me. That might not be the most charitable or best thing to admit, but it felt good to have my support people in my corner and for them to be on my side and to kind of validate my experience and that kind of support has been relatively rare in my life because, again, long history of bullying and feeling isolated and isolating myself. So I have a real problem learning to trust people. And I consistently get surprised when people prove to be trustworthy and when they do the things that they say they're going to do. Like in this instance, these people all said, "Contact me if you need me and I'm here for you." And I contacted them and they were here for me. And it wasn't just like a perfunctory thing either. They all stayed on the line texting with me until I was okay, which felt huge and so affirming and so helpful and healthy. And I might legitimately break down in tears. I'm so grateful to all of them. So there's that. One of my friends told me that I needed to outline my boundaries in both for this specific situation and for the relationship as a whole. So I've been working on that, both journaling and in therapy today. And these are the things that I have come up with. Number one, I am sorry for reacting poorly to the very messy situation. I have apologized for that much. I will apologize for no more. I have gone about as far as I am willing to go in accepting blame and culpability for what went down. So all is in the other party's court now. Number two, I am not sorry for my feelings, and I will not apologize for having them. Which for me feels freaking huge because in the past I would belittle and diminish my own feelings and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. This is all on me. This is my misunderstanding, my overreaction." And I would kind of deny my own trauma in order to make people feel more comfortable. And I've now been through enough therapy that I am no longer going to do that. I've been through enough therapy that I now actually believe that I have a right to feel my feelings. And I should never apologize for the feelings that I feel. My behaviors, those I can apologize for. Those I have a responsibility for. But my feelings? No. Those belong to me and I will not apologize for them. Never again. 3. I also do not apologize for my mental illnesses or my trauma responses. Which again feels really huge because historically I've been really good at downplaying my own trauma. And I'm slowly learning how to not do that now. My brain is like this for a reason. My reactions react this way because of parts of my history. And I'm not going to deny that the traumas happened anymore. I'm not going to deny that my behavioral responses are shaped by those traumas and those long past histories. Again, I can work to change my behavior, but I'm not going to apologize for the fact that I have trauma responses to certain stimuli. That's how my brain is. That's how my mental illnesses work. And I'm no longer going to apologize for being neurodivergent. This is the way my brain is wired. This is the way my brain chemicals work. So I'm not going to apologize for that anymore. It feels really good to be non-apologetic, actually. Number 4. I do feel dismissed and abandoned and devalued. I was told in the midst of my dissociation episode that I was being oversensitive, that I couldn't take a joke, that oh, I didn't mean it like that. And those responses brushed aside my own feelings and dismissed what I was going through in the moment. And I'm not okay with that. And I'm I'm also not okay with the feeling that my feelings don't matter. That I should just brush it all off because it wasn't meant maliciously. Nope. Nope. My therapist confirmed that what you meant does not matter. The fact is that my feelings were hurt. And so, at least acknowledgement of that and taking responsibility for that is a reasonable request. God damn it. Um, I'm also, this may be selfish. I'm a little upset that nobody recognized that I was in the middle of a dissociation episode, that I was in the middle of a severe trauma response and I was unable to break my own spiral. That might not be entirely fair, if only because I haven't been here for so long, and my responses to my trauma and my mental illnesses have changed a lot since I was 15 years old. So maybe it's not entirely fair of me to be upset that nobody clocked the fact that I was nonverbal and I was dissociating and that I needed to be removed from the environment and given a little bit of time to calm down. Nobody picked up on that, and I feel upset about it. However unrealistic that might be, considering the other parties may not even recognize what a dissociation episode looks like. I mean, if I don't know what I look like from the outside when I'm in the midst of one of these episodes, so I don't even know what physical cues I could point towards as, hey, this is a sign that I'm really not okay. But yeah, it would have been nice if my mental illnesses had been taken into account in the heat of the moment. Yeah, last boundary that I'm putting up. I want acknowledgement. At the very least, I want acknowledgement, and in the best case scenario, I want apologies for the fact that the other party's behavior was not okay either. Like, if it was not okay that I could not use my words and explain the reasons for my hurt feelings, it should also not be okay that the feelings were hurt in the first place and that there has yet to be any acknowledgement of the fact that my feelings were hurt. That sucks. And it makes me feel like what happened was entirely my fault when it was not. And like I said, I have apologized for as much as I feel culpable for, which is my poor handling of the situation. I went through this in therapy and came to the conclusion that the better response would have been physically removing myself from the room. Even if that in itself was called petty and childish and an overreaction, I think that would have been a healthier thing for me to do rather than just be stuck in my chair, dissociating and spiraling and not really able to reel back and pull myself out of it. So that's a thing that I can pay attention to for next time. Everything else, though, I won't apologize for. And it feels good to take the stance that not only am I not going to apologize for it, that I don't have to feel sorry for the fact that my feelings were hurt, for the fact that I am sensitive about those topics. The fact that I have these trauma responses. It's kind of darkly funny that on the one hand, I'm told, be vulnerable, be open with your feelings, allow yourself to be honest with how you're feeling. And then on the other hand, when those feelings get hurt, then it gets turned around and all of a sudden I'm being too sensitive and I should brush it off and it's not personal. And like, you cannot have it both ways. Yeah, I can acknowledge that it was not meant maliciously. It was not done intentionally. The fact of the matter is, my feelings were still hurt. I still got profoundly triggered. So much so that I ended up dissociating for, I'm not even sure how long, a few hours? At least a few hours. And that has yet to be acknowledged. That has yet to be apologized for. To date, it is now Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's now 3 days later, and I'm the only one who has apologized for anything that happened. And that's not fair. So in therapy, we were talking about having the conversation, like the conversation, capital letters, italicization. It's the adult thing to do. It's the healthy thing to do. It also feels fucking useless because I can pretty confidently state that I don't think anything is going to change. I'm pretty damn sure that I will be somewhat dismissed, that my perspective will be stated to be invalid because I didn't mean it like that. I have not yet figured out how to be okay with that. My therapist was telling me, it's entirely likely that this is what's going to happen. Based on the pattern of behavior that you've been explaining in therapy sessions prior, I think you're right that this might go this way. And if it does, okay. What changes? Which is a good question. I hate it when my therapist asks me good questions because she's right. Nothing changes. The relationships stay the way they are currently. However, what has changed is that I'm no longer willing to accept that. I'm no longer willing to have the relationship go like this. I'm no longer willing to be stuck in this position of bowing and scraping and apologizing for being too sensitive. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not going to apologize for it, and I'm not going to dismiss my feelings anymore. These people don't want me to dismiss my feelings. So the fact that they're trying to get me to dismiss my feelings when it's inconvenient is doubly ironic. I'm getting defensive and angry, and that's not helpful. But something's got to change. Something has to give. And if nothing changes, if nothing gives, if conversations are had and no behavior changes follow, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I don't know where that leaves me. Which my therapist told me to hold off thinking about that for now. She told me to give myself some time and distance before I start considering that potential future. That I should concentrate first on having these conversations that need to be had. So that's where I am right now. God, I'm not looking forward to this. So I'm kind of leaving you on a cliffhanger here because I feel like I'm still in the midst of the whole clusterfuck and I don't have a resolution yet. I hope I will have an update in the near future. We'll see. And until then, stay safe, stay sane, and feel your feelings and don't apologize for them. We deserve to feel our feelings. So, yeah, let's be unapologetic about what we feel today and this week.